Hello everyone, welcome to my channel Biochemistry Concepts. This video is about what are fatty acids and how the carbons of a fatty acids are numbered, representation of double bonds in a fatty acid, and the classification of fatty acids. So lipids are esters of fatty acids with alcohol. So what is fatty acid? Fatty acids are monocarboxylic acids with hydrocarbon chain. For example, here you can see palmitic acid. It is a 16 carbon fatty acid. It has one carboxyl group. To that, a hydrocarbon chain with 15 carbons is linked. So the general formula to represent the fatty acid is RCOOH. So where R is the hydrocarbon chain and COOH is the carboxylic group. Coming to how numbering is given to carbon atoms of a fatty acid. So that is starting from the carboxylic carbon. The carboxyl carbon is considered as number 1 carbon. The carbon adjacent to that is considered as second, third, and so on. The other way is the carbon which is adjacent to the carboxylic carbon is considered as alpha. The next carbon becomes beta, gamma, delta, and so on. And the last carbon is called as omega carbon. Coming to representation of double bonds of a fatty acid. So here, for example, we'll take oleic acid. So there are two ways in which the double bonds can be represented. One is C system and the other one is omega system. Coming to C system, in C system, the numbering is given in this way. For example, for oleic acid, it is a 18 carbon fatty acid. So C18. The next digit 1 indicates that there is only one double bond in this fatty acid, and a delta superscript 9 indicates that there is a double bond between 9th and 10th carbons. So this is how it is represented in the C system. Coming to omega system, as we know that the omega carbon is the last carbon or the carbon which is distant from the carboxylic carbon in a fatty acid. So when we are representing the double bonds from the omega end of a fatty acid, it is called as omega system. For the same fatty acid, that is oleic acid with 18 carbons, again here 18 is to 1. 1 indicates that there is only one double bond, and omega 9 tells us that the bond is present at omega 9th, that is between 9th and 10th carbons, starting from the omega end of the fatty acid. In case of a fatty acid with more than one double bond, in C system, the double bonds position is represented again with delta superscript the number. For example, in case of linoleic acid, there are two double bonds at 9th, that is between 9th and 10th carbons, and 12th and 13th carbons. So here the double bonds are represented as delta 9 comma 12. But in case of omega system, it indicates only the location of the first double bond in the fatty acid from the omega end. It will not tell us the remaining double bonds positions. Right? If you say that a fatty acid has designated as omega 9, that indicates that the bond is present between 9th and 10th carbons from the omega end. But it will not tell us the position of remaining double bonds in the fatty acid. Classification of fatty acids. These are classified into straight chain, branched chain, substituted, and cyclic fatty acids. Coming to straight chain fatty acids, these are called as straight chain because the fatty acids in which the carbons are arranged linearly. So those are the straight chain fatty acids. So these are subclassified into two types, saturated and unsaturated, based on the presence and absence of double bonds. So a straight chain fatty acid without double bonds is called as saturated fatty acid, and a straight chain fatty acid with double bonds is called as unsaturated fatty acid. Saturated fatty acids are again subclassified into even carbon fatty acids and odd carbon fatty acids. So this is based on the number of carbon atoms present in that fatty acid. Coming to unsaturated fatty acids, when double bonds are present, it is called as unsaturated. These are again subclassified into two types, monoenoic or monounsaturated fatty acids. The second one is polyenoic or polyunsaturated fatty acids. So when a unsaturated fatty acid contains only one double bond, it is called as monounsaturated fatty acid. A unsaturated fatty acids with more than one double bond in it is called as polyunsaturated or polyenoic fatty acid. Coming to a polyunsaturated fatty acid with two double bonds, it is called as dienoic acid. Examples are linoleic acid present in the sunflower and groundnut oils. Trienoic acid means a fatty acid with three double bonds. The example is linolenic acid, which is present in the linseed oil. And tetraenoic fatty acid with four double bonds. It is arachidonic acid, which is present in the groundnuts. Coming to branched chain fatty acids. So the fatty acids which are branches in them, they are called as branched chain fatty acids. So these are less abundant in nature. Examples are isovaleric acid, isobutyric acid, and the sebum of the sebaceous glands, it contains branched chain fatty acids, and butter contains phytanic acid, which is also a branched chain fatty acid. Coming to substituted fatty acids, the name itself indicates that there are some substituted groups here. So when one or more hydrogen atoms of a fatty acid are replaced by another group, then those fatty acids are called substituted fatty acids. For example, cerebronic acid and oxynervonic acid of brain glycolipids, ricinoleic acid of castor oil, and lactic acid of blood. So these are substituted fatty acids. Coming to last one, cyclic fatty acids. Fatty acids which have cyclic groups in their structure, so those are called as cyclic fatty acids. For example, these are seen in the bacteria and seed lipids. Chalmurgic acid obtained from Chalmurga seeds is a cyclic fatty acid.